Hello, welcome to Kay's in the Garden. I'm Kay, and this is my garden. Hey, this is Easter weekend. Today is Saturday, and I am just kind of piddling around in the garden to see what maintenance needs to occur, and I'm also going to get some peppers out today. We have quite a few peppers left. Well, almost all of our peppers left because we only planted about maybe 10 of them. The two beds I had planned on planting them, one has onions and the other one has onions and garlic, and I don't see those coming out anytime soon. So we are walking around trying to see where can we plant more of these peppers. So let's just walk around and kind of take a look at the garden and see where we can probably get some things planted. So it is, as you can see, very cloudy. I do feel little sprinkles here and there, but as long as we don't get a downpour. First, before we walk around, let me show you what we have left to plant. Not sure if you guys saw the short reel that I posted, but I brought my peppers out from the garage outside on the patio. I had a really bad aphid infestation. So I got some neem oil and sprayed them really good. And that was literally 2 days ago. And so they actually look great. I don't see any signs of aphids on them. And that worked perfectly. In this full container is all spicy peppers. From Megatron jalapenos to poblanos and shishitos. And then in the full bed, we have spicy peppers from jalapenos, Megatron jalapenos, poblanos, and shishitos. In the half bed, we have some additional spicy peppers, also cayennes, some more shishitos, and Megatrons. But in the gray container, the small container, we have some more sweet peppers, which is Lecia peppers. Those are still small. I think I can wait a little bit before we get those out. But let me take you around and let you see where I plan on planting the other sweet peppers. I already have them out near the planting area, so let's go take a look. While we walk around to take a look at different planting areas, I'm also going to show you a few little things I'm going to do today. All right, my neighbors are mowing, so I apologize if you can hear that. I have my noise canceling mic on, so you shouldn't be able to hear that. But as we walk around, I'm going to show you some additional little maintenance things I have to do while we're out here, if weather permits, as well as I'm going to show you some more exciting things that's happening. All right, let's take a look. When we passed the squash bed here, I had a toxoi that went to seed, and those flowers are beautiful. I was going to pull it, but I'm going to leave it so I can continue to attract some pollinators, because as you can see over here, our black zucchini is really taking off, and there's quite a bit of flowers in there ready to be pollinated. So this is the bed that we pulled the cabbages out. And so I have added some black cow and some perlite. I'm going to amend this bed. In the pink container, I have already mixed some amendments. It's a combination of worm casting and other amendments that I'll post here, and a little bit of perlite mixed in that. But those are the 11 peppers that I'm going to get planted in this bed. I have some Cubanelle peppers, some Venezuelan tiger. I have a chocolate giant bell pepper and 2 California Wonder bell peppers. So that's what we're going to get in this bed. We're going to leave the Malabar spinach. The onions should be coming out soon, but I'm not planting in that general area. I'm just going to try to get them right in the area where you see the compost and the perlite. I won't bring you guys along while I plant that. I may film it and just speed up the clip, but you guys have seen me planting quite a bit. I don't have any blood meal or bone meal. I will probably come back and add some of that once I get some, but I will always continue to fertilize with some fish emulsion. In the green stock here, I'm pretty excited. This is a mini cucumber, and I added this trellis because I was seeing that it was trying to trellis, and it's continuing to grow, but it just won't catch on to this trellis. I might try to add something. This is the bed where I wanted to plant peppers. But I think this is probably going to be the last bed that's actually harvested. It was one of the last beds that I actually planted garlic and onions. And though the onions are bulbing and some are falling over, I don't think they're going to be ready as soon as the onion bed. So what I'm planning on doing is when I do harvest this bed, I am going to add more tomatoes here, because by then my determinate tomatoes behind it on Grow Back Alley will probably be kind of dying off. So maybe, maybe not. We'll see. But I'm definitely planting tomatoes in this bed. And with the shade cloth above it, it will be perfect for the hotter months. That worked out perfect. When we get ready to harvest this bed, the onions are actually bulbing up fairly nicely in this bed. So we have some small ones and some larger ones, but we'll see. Again, an onion is an onion no matter what size it is. I purchased this marigold and I wanted you guys to take a look at it. It's called a Tanzanian yellow marigold, and that is just beautiful. I was taking a look at this bed, and the tomatillas are just showing out over here, which is great. I'm not complaining at all. I was trying to see how I can keep it off of the green stock because they were growing over into the green stock. So I have this makeshift trellis. It's actually the base of a baby bed, and it works perfect for a trellis. So I was thinking about putting it here and just burying it and staking it in this bed so that it will sit up like this, and hopefully even if the tomatillas do grow onto the trellis or like grow into the trellis, it will provide some support. So I was thinking about doing that. Another thing I was thinking about doing is over in the first bed we just looked at where I'm growing the peppers, I thought about staking this to the cattle panel so that I can lay shade cloth on top of it to protect the peppers when they start growing. So either one of those ideas would be great. I am still kind of deciding which direction I want to go with that. Just a thought. What do you guys think? Should I leave it here for the tomatillos, or should I use it? What will happen is, let me show you. This is a perfect example. So in the other bed, I will put a T-post at the edge of the bed here. I will take this and zip tie it to this cattle panel on one end and zip tie it on one end to the T-post here. And then it will lay across horizontal. And then I'll be able to just lay the shade cloth on top of it. And I can go pretty high with it because I do have a tall 6-7 foot T-post, and I can go pretty tall on that cattle panel. So those are the ideas. I can leave it here so that it can support the tomatillos and keep them separate from the green stock. Or I can use it for a shade cloth, or I could probably do both if I can find another one like this. We found this on the side of the road. Someone was throwing away an old baby bed. And so I just asked my husband to stop and grab it. At first I didn't know it was a baby bed. It looked like a trellis to me. And then he was like, what do you need with a baby bed? And I was like, I don't want the baby bed. I just want the trellis. So that's another project in the making. I love when I can see tomatoes. I do have a tomato down in here, and I don't know. Oh, well, actually, no, that's from the other side. Even after I trim these tomatoes, they are really growing. That's a sucker. Probably should cut that. This is going to get too full if I don't. But I want to trellis this. I'm going to come and tie this up to this trellis because there is a tomato plant down here. This is a Cherokee purple, and I really want that Cherokee purple to be successful. I have this Juliet that's growing on this side of the trellis, and it's supposed to be on that side of the trellis. So I'm going to trellis this back, remove that sucker, and I'll come back and connect that there. When you're planting this close together, you really have to stay on top of controlling the growth and like where everything is, because not only do I have these tomatoes fighting for space on this trellis with the tomatillos, I also have pole beans down here that's going to fight its way through as well. So I have to try to keep this general area here kind of nice and clean. That's pretty interesting. Let's take a look at this. Okay, speaking of fighting for space, I didn't notice until just now. You see that this vining around this tomatillo, that is a green bean. I don't want that to go around that tomatillo. I want it to go up the trellis. So I'm just going to untwist it and redirect it, hopefully without breaking it. I'm going to redirect it to the trellis. All right, I'm going to pause you for a second. I need 2 hands for this. Okay, I was able to successfully create some space here. I was able to stake the tomatillos, and I was able to redirect this green bean up the trellis without breaking it, and so that way it will continue to grow on this trellis. And that way we have the more defined space for the tomatillos. I'm going to try to stay focused on keeping the tomatoes on their side of the cage, and that way the dragon tongue green beans can have the center and grow up the trellis without competing for space. Okay, so we're over here to the original onion bed. I do see a lot of onions that are bending over, which means they're ready to be harvested. I think those are going to be my smaller sizes, but some of my larger ones, they're still standing up. They're still growing. They're still bulbing. So I might harvest some of these onions and go ahead and start preserving them versus trying to harden them off. The larger ones I will harden off so that they will store longer, but I don't think this bed is going to be ready. This is where I will plant my spicy peppers. So I'm going to hold off on planting spicy peppers until this bed is ready to go. And then it seems like this side is starting to fold over more than this side. So maybe I might do half of the bed and then leave the other half for it to continue to bulb up. But some of them are nice sizes. I do have some large onions in here. I don't need them to be gigantic, but I will let them continue growing. So here's my Chinese noodle beans. They are doing fabulous. They should start vining onto the cattle panel soon. I added this nice little separator here to keep my onions from falling on them so they can continue to get some sunlight. I'm over here in the cherry tomato bed, and that loofah plant is showing out. I need to take that out and pot it up. But my curry squash is really starting to take off. I've already attached it to the vine. I do see some flowering starting, as well as this one has really bounced back. But let me show you something. Just over in this bed, I noticed this vining happening here. And I was like, what is this? Yes, it's a loofah plant. So I'm going to pull that out as well and put them in a pot in case someone wants loofahs. I'm going to harvest these radishes today. This is where I've been trying to get to. I'm going to go ahead and pull this kale out. I really haven't eaten much of it. I think I've kept one harvest. So I'm going to take these out. I'm going to mend this bed. I've already added some black cow and some perlite, but I'm going to plant banana peppers here. And I have one pippin golden pepper, which is a sweet variety. I'm going to also add it in here. And you might be able to see I've already put them over here. They're kind of right there in the back. But that I'm going to leave, of course, my snapdragons. But this bed will also be a sweet pepper. I have a few more Lesia peppers that I don't know where I'm going to plant those just yet. But they're still small. I have a little time to get those out. They may go in the bed where the garlic and onions are. They may. Nope, because that's my tomato bed. No, not doing it. That is definitely going to be a tomato bed. So I don't know. We're going to look around. We're going to find a spot for we're going to find a spot for my Lesias. As you guys know, that's one of my favorite sweet bell peppers. So I will keep an eye out for where I'm going to plant the Lesia peppers. I'm pretty sure there's maybe even when we pull the radishes out, they can go in that bed. I have squash in the back and red sorrel. So I don't want anything to be in the front of it where it's too tall and I can't get to the squash. And then, you know, with the squash, depending on that nasty vine borer, they may not last that long. So we might get some of the Lesia peppers back there. So, all right, guys. So let me set you up. We're going to get to planting some of these sweet peppers before it rains so they can benefit from this rain that we may get today or tomorrow. But for me, I'm benefiting from the breeze and from the shade being provided by the clouds. So we're going to get these peppers planted. Okay, so we're going to just get some of this mixed into the soil. There is a cosmos flower on the end there that I'm going to leave. I think leaving that flower will bring in more pollinators to help pollinate the flowers on the pepper plants. Okay, guys, this is the plan. We're going to do 2 of the California Wonder bell peppers. We have the giant chocolate pepper. We have 2 Cubanelles, and these are Venezuelan tiger. So I have 3, and then I'll have 2 here. So I'll have room for maybe 1 or 2 more plants, one on either side. Actually, I'll have another. So I have 2 peppers. I wasn't quite sure where I was going to put those. I might go ahead and add those over here. Perfect. That's what we'll do. Okay, let's go ahead and get these planted. Okay, so I've decided to plant the two larger ones back here, and the cubanelles are going to be closer to the front there. And because I can't plant anything without some form of fertilizer in the hole, I'm just going to add the plant food that's a 12-10-5. Going to remove these lower leaves. Yeah, these two plants were purchased. They are a mild to they're a mild jalapeno pepper. Again, my husband does not like spicy, but he does like stuffed peppers with cream cheese and bacon. So I went ahead and got some non-spicy peppers. I did purchase quite a few of them. There's some I planted earlier on the other side, but I figured he might want some more. So I picked up 2 more. These are larger than the other 2 that I purchased. And we'll be adding pole to stabilize these to give them a little bit more support. These are the cubanelles that I actually planted from seed. We now have all of our peppers, our sweet peppers, planted in this bed. And I've placed a stake next to each of them so that as they grow, I can trellis them or attach them to it for support. That way, when they start producing peppers, the weight of the peppers will not snap or damage the plant. We're going to move over to the other bed so we can get the rest of them planted. But let me get this watering system back in. Peppers do not like a lot of water, so they don't like their roots in really soggy soil. So I have 2 sprayers on this side in this bed. There's one over on that side, which I'll probably bring a little bit closer to the middle. And so they kind of shoot outward in a stream. So when the water comes in, we'll test it. I think this is great to leave this cosmos in here. I think, again, it will bring in pollinators. I think it's going to enjoy the compost that we've added. I think it's going to benefit the Malabar spinach so it can continue to grow. I will come back out before it gets too late and water these. The bed was pretty moist, but I still think it needs a little bit more settling. And I think this bed is all set. Let's head over to the other bed where we're going to plant the other sweet peppers. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is get this kale removed from the bed. This kale grew great in this bed, but I don't know if this was my favorite variety. Actually, I know it's not my favorite variety of kale. This is the Red Russian. Will I grow it again? Probably so. I think I need to try it one more time, but for now, it's got to go. Let's get this soil is a little dry. It makes it a little bit easier to pull these up. I don't think these kales actually taste bad. I just think that they always look like they had some kind of damage to them. So I don't know if maybe it's just that I didn't take care of them well enough or water them enough. Let me show you. See, it always looks like something was going on with them. I don't know. I don't think it was a taste, which is why I said I will grow them again. I just think maybe this was too much sun exposure or I don't know. We'll try it again in the fall. With some of my newer beds that I added, put a lot of, we have some wood that we have been using to fill up some of the bed. We cut down a tree at our previous home. We brought all the wood with us. Not that we have a fireplace, but I wanted a fire pit, so I knew I'd probably use it. Well, we've been using it to fill up some of the beds. So I can feel like when I hit really hard, I can feel that they're, of course, I know they haven't broken down yet, but I wonder if that's probably robbing a lot of the nutrients. I need to probably fertilize this bed more. I definitely need to add some more soil because I want them to have some distance. It's only maybe 4 inches. So let me go get some more compost. I want to add some more compost in here. If I don't pull this up by the root, it will grow back. As you can see, this is where we've harvested some of the leaves from. As you can see, they will grow back. So I have to pull this up by the root. If I can get some of this soil over here by my snapdragons. We get to level that soil up a little bit. Okay, I think that will give a little bit of room for the plant roots. So they'll be separate from that wood that's at the bottom. I would have liked a little bit more perlite in here, but I think I'm out. Okay, this produced a lot more room than I thought, so we're going to also bring our Anaheim peppers over. Okay, so I think this is how we're going to plant. You know what I forgot to do is add my compost in the bed. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and plant this middle row since I already have them dug, and then I'll just mix this in around the edges. It will all benefit the plant. Those roots. Those are nice roots. A nice pepper plant. These are the Anaheim chili peppers that we actually started from seed. Most of the plants we did start from seed, but I am not opposed to hitting up my local nursery. Oh, I have 2 plants in this one. Maybe I'll get one over here in the corner. Let's see. I think if I plant them together, they may be too close. That came apart really easy. Didn't know I had 2 in that pot. We're going to see how that turns out. I got these from our neighborhood gardening clubs. They had wooden ones and they had plastic ones. I'm glad I grabbed some of the plastic ones. The wooden ones broke down, but these says love grows here. I love that. So we're going to put it on this end. Let's put it with our ladybugs. There we go. These ladybugs are welcoming any ladybug that would like to come over and have a snack. So if you see any aphids, you're more than welcome. You don't even have to ask. Okay, I'm going to swing around to the other side, plant the last 3. I'll bring you guys back. We're going to go get some stakes added to these. All right, I was over here weeding and remembered that I needed to harvest radishes. So I'm just going to cut the roots off. And those are nice tops. I'm going to keep the tops for now. I don't think they're all ready, but I'm going to harvest a few of them. Yeah, that's a nice one. Definitely got to get that one. I'm not sure if my family likes radishes, but I don't think my husband does. He doesn't like anything that has any type of spice to it. So I'm hit or miss with my success with radishes, so I don't usually plant a lot of them. Ooh, this one's a little spiky. Let me go ahead and pull this one. That's a white one. I'm not quite sure. That's a daikon radish, maybe? It's a little spiky, sticking me. I think on this right side I had a mixture of radishes, but I think my success is coming from these large globe radishes. Okay, all right, so we have a handful of radishes, and let me go ahead and pull up this loofah plant. There we go. We'll get this into some soil and see if we can transplant that and save it. Not sure if I showed you the end result of this pepper bed, but we did get the water sprinklers back in their spot and got the stakes in. So the sweet peppers, all except for the Lessias, have been planted. Okay guys, we're going to end the video here. I think we've gotten quite a bit done today. We were able to amend those 2 beds and get the sweet peppers planted. The only thing we have left is probably about 4 Lessia peppers. And I may add soil to a grow bag and just plant the Lessias in a grow bag. Not quite sure yet, but we're going to wait for our onions to get our spicy peppers planted. And then we have a great idea that we're going to get more tomatoes in the bed under the shade cloth structure. So I think that's going to be perfect. And we've gotten a couple of our radishes harvested. And I don't see any squash. I was looking for squash to see if maybe can show you guys we have squash, some black zucchini or squash growing. We don't at this moment, but we'll keep an eye out. I'll let you know when I get my first zucchini. I'm excited. I love fresh zucchini. I love patty pan squash, but I am keeping an eye out for that nasty vine borer. I'm going to put a little clip in here before we end the video. I came out yesterday morning to just kind of eyeball the garden while I was drinking my coffee, and let me show you what I found. Okay guys, I'm starting to see some female flowers. So I was uncovering this squash and look at what I see. He is my arch nemesis and he's gotta go. We're actually going to end the video here. I just wanted to share with you my beautiful cosmos as they are starting to bloom. I usually have like a yellow orange cosmos, but these purple lavender cosmos are beautiful. They're just absolutely beautiful. So I want to thank you guys very much for hanging out with me as we kind of just did, you know, some sporadic things here and there around the garden. It doesn't always have to have a planned day of exactly what you're going to be doing, but just a nice day out in the garden, just walking around, seeing what needs a little attention and what's doing fabulous is always a great day out in the garden, especially when there's no sun, there's a nice breeze, and it's just very relaxing. So guys, have a wonderful day, and I hope that you're enjoying your Easter weekend, either in your garden or just with your family. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and what I always say, most importantly, subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.